the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start to work on the horse that's sitting and playing the game. So I'm starting off with Y. Let's see if we can see it. There you go. Y413, Y415, and Y416, and that's strictly for the horse's like skin or whatever you want to call it. And I like to just do it like even with the ear. Because I do darker inside the ear, I just cover the whole thing. And we do want to try and work a little bit quickly. So next I'm going in with that 415, and I'm just shading it as if there's a shadow on the face because the game is shining light, right? So I want to have that shadow there. Then we go in with the 416 and we just deepen that just a little bit. I usually go from right behind the ear and then do like a slight curve down. And then I color the inside of the ear a little bit darker. And that's kind of that. And then, because it's not like a perfect gradient, I will go back in with that 413. And I'm gonna avoid the inside of the ear this time. I'm just going to go over the whole thing. Perfect. And then if you're a little bit of a perfectionist like I am, I'll go back over with my darker colors because then the whole page is more saturated, it's more wet. And then the colors will kind of blend together a little bit easier. At least that's what I found, so. And if it's not perfect, it's totally fine. Okay, and then we're moving on. This is his hand, so we're gonna kind of do the same thing. We're gonna go in with that Y413. Then the Y415, we're gonna do like the bottom half and maybe a little bit under the sleeve, but not too much. You don't want to overdo it. And then that 416, I'm just doing that little corner part at the bottom there. And then I'm doing once more over with that Y413 real quick. Perfect. Okay, so as far as the horse goes, there's no more like skin or fur on him. Okay, so now we're moving on to the mane and the tail. And for those ones, let's see, I'm going to use V18, V112, and V013. So for this one, it's like you can go and do the highlights more towards the game, but because I'm planning on doing like neon lights all around, I kind of want the highlighted or the lighter part of the hair to be the whole thing, and it gets darker towards the middle. So we're gonna start by just outlining in purple, or like the lightest purple, that V18. Just like that. And then we'll go in with that V112 and we'll just follow that first line that we made. For this one, I'm totally okay coloring it in because we're going to also do one spot a little bit darker yet. So leaving those edges more of that first color. If you want to, if you feel like it's not blending enough, go back in with the first color and do a quick little once over, going over both colors so they blend a little bit more seamlessly. And then with that V013, I'm gonna go one shade even darker, just to try and give it that, I don't know, the depth that I'm kind of going for. There. I like that. And then we'll do the same thing with the tail. So that V18 around the outside, V112, and again I'm coloring the whole thing in other than the lighter parts. I'll go back in with the V18 just along the outside, and then back in with that V013. Now we're gonna move on to the jacket. So what I want to do is I kind of want to have the cuff and then the neck one color to kind of go for a more of a jersey feel, but that also means I want another line down here. So I'm going to take this fine tip black pen and I'm just going to add one more line, just like that. Really simple, one line. And then for those edges, I'm going to use RV111 and RV212. So we'll start with the 111 and we're just going to go along this top part, the cuff, and then that bottom part that we just drew. And then I'm gonna go in with that darker one. It's only slightly darker, so 212. And then, so we can see where the game would hit here, and underneath the hair, it would be a little bit darker. So if we can do that, kind of follow along where our shadow naturally is landing. I don't know why I said naturally, it's not naturally. And then we're just gonna do another shadow kind of halfway around almost. This one, it almost, you could go all the way if you want. You don't have to. But because it is hidden by this little ledge here, you can. It's not gonna make or break your drawing. Oh, and then, sorry, you also wanna take that color and I'm going inside the numbers. Beautiful. And then for the outside of the jacket, we are using BG211, BG212, and BG215. There we go, 215. So we'll start off with that lighter color again, and we're gonna kind of do it the same that we did that face part. So I'm gonna start with the arm of this jacket. It's so funny because some of my markers, it seems like they just work better than other colors, like colors specifically. Okay, and then I'm gonna come in with that BG212 and I'm gonna go about like a little curve halfway down. Again, we're thinking of shadows and where light would naturally fall if you were actually playing this game. BG215, and I'm just going along that bottom part there just to really sell that shadow. Back in with that 211. Just trying to really blend those colors together. And then I'm going to do a little bit of this one kind of along the arm, like where the jacket is. Or, wow, that makes so much sense. BG212. We're going to follow it a little bit under the arm just because there is going to be a little bit of a shadow there. And then I'm going to come around and do the whole back part. I feel like I'm going to have to cut my voice out of this video so much because I know in my head what I'm trying to do, but my voice and my words are not matching up. Okay, now we're going to take that darkest color again. I'm going to give it about halfway, I think, down the back. You could also kind of go, like if you made a darker part of your collar, go based off of that too to try and make sure that the shadows are lining up to where you kind of want them to be. Just gonna touch this up slightly. I think that's pretty good. So I'm taking a white gel pen and just going inside this. I don't know if it's like a varsity kind of feel that I like to try and give. So inside the numbers, and then I'll go around there, around that cuff, and then one more along that bottom part that we did. So for the pants, we're going to start with B09, and then we have BB311, if you can see it, BB311, and then also BB314. Those are the ones we're doing for the pants. So we're going to start with the B09, and I'm going to go just along the knee maybe, and then maybe just along the side here because it's kind of going to be highlighted from the floor. And then we'll take our BB311 and we'll just go along the whole of the pants, but just avoiding that highlight if we can. If you do have acrylic markers, like I'm going to be adding acrylic markers to the end, but if you have some, don't feel like you need to add the extra highlights at the beginning. You could just use your acrylic markers at the end. So BB314, I'm just accentuating this like shadow part here. I'm kind of going from where the hips are and down the back because that's the furthest away from our gaming light source. And then I'll go just a little bit behind the knee there. For the feet, we're going with R612 and R615. So I'll start with the R612, and I'm just coloring the whole thing. These are going to be the same colors that we do for the dog's shoes too. And then I'm gonna go in with that 615, and I'm literally just doing the bottom of it. It doesn't do too much because they're so similar in color, but just to maybe give it that little bit of extra depth there. All right, and then for the stool, we're gonna start with our RB 111 again. I'm gonna do this as kind of like a highlighted color. I kind of want to feel like the pink that I'm gonna use for the machine is bouncing off the floor and then coming back up to the stool, because I think that could be pretty cool. And then we will use our V416, and that's gonna be just the actual stool color. I just like the dark purple along with the brighter pink. I think it looks neat. Now we're gonna tackle our arcade machine. We're gonna start with our RV 111 again. Sorry, it keeps unfocusing. So our RV 111. And I kind of wanted to have it along the edges here. And then this top part. We're gonna go along the same part as this other side, just this little slope. And then I'm gonna do the bottom of it too. Okay. And then I'm gonna do this middle circle here, and then this, it almost looks like music notes, but it almost looks like pie. So I don't know what it is, but maybe it is pie because, you know, it's pizza pie, there's pizza. I don't know, but that's what I'm going with. This joystick thing pink. We're gonna make the coin slot pink. And then we're gonna make this bottom part of the machine pink as well. And then I want to do the words fight, and then just these lines there. Actually, if you put your pink down around the word fight, then when we go back in at the end, we can add our white gel pen around the letters and hopefully maybe make it look like it's actually glowing. I might just do this whole thing pink, to be honest. There. Take our darker pink, our RV 212, and I just want to use it for the gloves. I know I feel like every time I imagine boxing gloves, I always feel like they're red for some reason, but I didn't really want to deviate too far away from the palette. Next, because it's a frog, we need green. So YG610 is going to be our color for our friendly little frog here. And then I'm gonna do this part of the game machine green to also just kind of try and tie everything together. We're gonna go for a green line there and half circle there. How many frogs does this thing have? My goodness. I'm just gonna color it all green, because I feel like if I try to color one spot differently, that it's gonna look really funny. Okay, now I'm taking my FY00 fluorescent yellow, and I kind of want to just color this part here. I'm gonna go over it with acrylics after. I feel like I probably went a little bit over this line. And then we're gonna do this top triangle here in yellow. We'll put yellow down here underneath this joystick here. And then I kind of want to just, let's do yellow down here. All right, and then we're gonna take our B09 again, and I'm just gonna add a blue triangle here. You know what, we'll do the light blue up here. And down this inside part of the machine. Slightly darker blue, BB312, and that one I'm going to use up top here. I feel like I missed a color that I used before. Okay. And then I want to use it down this part here. And then we're gonna do, ooh, I almost got onto the horse's head. This front part of the machine. This side. And then I have an even darker blue, BB314, and that part I'm using on the front of this machine just because the machine has an overhang and I kind of want to give that illusion of a little bit more of a shadow than the other blue parts of the machine. I'm gonna take this dark color. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go over this light blue spot. I don't like it. I like that a lot better. Fluorescent yellow. And I'm actually gonna do this spot here too. I don't know if anybody else has found this, but my fluorescent Ohuhu markers, like the ones that are actually supposed to be like fluorescent, they color so weird compared to my other ones. And I don't like it. R513, and this is just the color I picked for the frog's mouth. And then I picked black, and I'm going along the inside of this shape, I guess. I don't really know what else to call it, but I am following the same lines. I'm just literally coloring the inside black. So basically this black line that was already there, it's gonna be like the yellow part, and everything else is gonna be black. But I'm so sorry. Fluorescent yellow again. We're gonna go around this KO. And then I'm gonna wait for that to dry. I'm gonna take my BV05, and this is the color that I just chose for his little, whatever this is, jumpsuit, wrestling, boxing outfit, whatever. And take my green, that YG610, because I actually really want to put that in this spot here. I feel like all these colors are not gonna make sense, but yeah, whatever. And then we're gonna go in the bottom of this coin slot as well. Back again. And I'm just going to... Black is pretty forgiving when it comes to not coloring fast enough with alcohol markers, I guess I would say. Because it's black, you don't see as many streaks. If you really want clean lines around this KO part, a black fine liner would be helpful. I'm literally coloring in this whole area behind this frog. There's just nothing to talk about. I'm just taking my time. Okay, so for this bottom part, I actually think I'm going in with my RV212. I'm just gonna make this cord like pink. And then what I wanna do is I'm gonna grab our V013 and I'm just gonna make a little shadow. Now we're gonna work on the dog. So for his fur, we're gonna go with E46 and E58. We're just gonna go in. I'm just gonna start with the face. And then I'm going to shade again. So we're gonna go kind of under the chin. It's a pretty common spot, especially when there's lights coming from the top. And then I go just under the ear and then like this bottom part of the ear because it'll get the least amount of light. And then because he is wearing a hat, I'm gonna just do the tiniest line if I possibly can. Just where the hat is kind of sitting, and then this hat like lips out. So I'm just adding a shadow to the back of that as well. And then you can also add your shadow color to where his skin or fur is there. Then we're gonna do our lighter color again. Tail. All right, back in with our shadow color. And just this bottom part of the tail again. Oh, and for his hair at the very bottom. And then I like to do a little line here because the hat obviously goes, like the hair is going through the hat. So there should be like a little bit of a shadow in this spot till the hair pokes out. And we're gonna do kind of where the highlights would fall. There. Might be a highlight on the back. Maybe the top of the sleeve, maybe the bottom, maybe the back of the hood a little bit. And because the gaming console's right there, maybe a little bit there. And then we're gonna add our V013. And we're just gonna color the rest of this thing purple. I am gonna take our V015 and I'm just gonna go in under here where all of these shadows would sit. So like under the hood, maybe just a little bit under this ear, just to kind of give it a little bit more depth. Good enough. Now we're gonna do the pants. So again, it's gonna be pretty much almost identical to the horse one. We're starting with that B09 for the highlights. So we'll do some there, maybe some on this zipper spot down there. The pocket could maybe be highlighted, and then maybe the back in case there's any reflection. Our BB311. And this is just your whole pant color. And then we're going with our 314 just to deepen those shadow areas. And then I'm taking our BG211 and I'm coloring the plate in. And then I'm gonna color the hat as well. So we're gonna do, not the whole hat, do this middle part. You can add a shadow to that kind of wherever you want. You could do maybe just along the bottom, or you could do down a side if you want. And then I'm gonna do just around this band. And that's with that BG212. And then I'm gonna go back in with our blues, that BV311. And I'm gonna do this back side of the hat. And then with our BB314, again, wherever you wanna do highlight, or sorry, shadow. What's up, baby? And then I'm going back to our pink RV111. I'm actually going to use this same color for the pepperoni. And then using our RV212 for the shadows. And then I am using Y27 for the pizza. What is that? 415 for the crust. And then we're using those same colors for our shoes like I mentioned before. So R612. And R615. Now we're going to be working on like the wall part. The beginning is going to be pretty basic because then we're going to cover it with acrylic as well. So let's just start with the pizza. Pretty simple. Y29. And then we'll go in with our RB 111. And I want to do the pepperoni. But I also kind of just want to do the crust just for fun. It's a wall decoration, it's not actual pizza. We can do whatever we want. And then I'm also going to do this little triangle. And this squiggly thing. And then I want to do the inside of the star. This one let's do that in green. We're gonna take our YG 610 and we're gonna do the outline. There. And then we could do green there, and maybe green here. Because then it's like the frog. Lightest blue, that B09. And we'll do the star. I'm a little bit nervous because I'm deviating from my original plan, so hopefully it still turns out good. Okay, so then this top portion, I'm just going to do that V416, and then I'm going to do that in this line, and this top line, I think, and then maybe the bottom. Maybe I'll do both those lines. We'll just kind of go purple, purple, purple. I'm also just going to color in these circles because I'm just going to fix them later with acrylics. If you don't have acrylic markers, I would recommend coloring in the circles with whatever color you want. So I think they're lights. And then if you have like a white gel pen, you could still use that around the outside and kind of give it the same effect. Okay, that's the top part. And this little line. And then we're gonna just do both of these, because why not? Why the heck not? And then the rest of the wall, we're going with BV 514. This marker takes me a long time because if I don't color slow enough, it starts looking really streaky. I don't know why some colors do that more than others. Like, it's not even a matter of like a light or dark color, like just some colors. I don't know if it's like maybe the way that it's made, or like the combination of ink, or I don't know, but some of them are a little bit streaky if you're not careful. If you're using alcohol markers on a big section, this isn't even a huge section, but it's big enough, and you don't want it to look streaky, the best thing you can do is literally have to go back and forth like this, coloring while the marker is still wet, because it will dry on you and then it will get streaky. That looks terrifying. It still looks terrifying. I wonder what would happen if I just colored this spot in. Oh, apparently it looks pretty rough. I think I'm gonna color this whole inside the frog thing with black just to kind of cover those lines a little bit. Try it. I don't need the lines to disappear totally, but at least then it kind of makes it a little more cohesive. That B415, and I'm literally just using this on the entire floor for right now. So even when I'm doing the whole floor one color, I still like to work one section at a time, because if I were just to do the whole thing, the chances of it getting more streaky, which I prefer not having the streaks, if you don't care, you go for it. But usually if you're using alcohol markers, it's because you like that look of like no streaks in your marker. So anyways, I color still section by section just to really help avoid that if I possibly can. It's also really satisfying. Like even if you were doing a whole grayscale page, coloring it just piece by piece, like it's just mindless. It's just satisfying. Minimal effort. Okay. And now I'm gonna go back in with my black and just give some shadow. It's not going to show up super great, but that's okay. We don't want it to. It's just to give it a little extra depth. I'll go under the machine a little bit. Definitely around the shadow for this cord. And then I'll go a little bit under the dog's feet. But like I said, really not a whole lot. Go a little bit under the tail, but not touching the tail because you still want to give the illusion that the horse is higher than the floor. And I think that's it for the alcohol marker part. Now we get to go in with our acrylics and white gel pen and continue from there. Okay, so for right now, I'm using my new Ohuhu Nahuku acrylic markers. I am only using 6 of the colors, so we're doing this RB513, it's a pink, and then for yellow we're doing Y53. Our light blue is a B210. Our green is YG410. Our purple is V09, and then a dark blue is B719. So I probably won't say them by their color number, but at least this way it's like you've got a pink, a purple, a yellow, a green, a light blue, and a dark blue. And then I have my gel pen. So I want to start with the pink. And I'm going to start with the lights. So for this one, I'm just going to go around the light. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker than this line because we also have to remember that the gel pen is going to go on there as well. So we'll do pink, and we'll go spot, spot. We'll do pink again. Spot, spot. Pink. Ooh, that one's a little bit. I'm gonna try and just even them out because I accidentally made that circle way less. Whoops. And then we're gonna go pink around the pizza crust. And then I'm gonna do it a little bit around these pepperonis. And then I'm covering these lines of this triangle. And I'm going to do the same with this part. Okay. And I'm gonna maybe just do a little bit on this star for now. I might just end up coloring this whole star in by accident, but that's okay. It's kind of hard for me to color when there's a camera above me because I can't get my face like 2 inches away from the paper. So for the purple, I'm gonna start going, I think, along these lines actually. We're just gonna do those ones. Okay, I think leave that for now. We might have to come back to do more purple elsewhere later, but that's okay. We're gonna take our yellow. Okay, my yellow circle. Oh man, that was maybe rough. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do that one. Oh yeah, we can't forget we're also gonna be coloring these. I guess I don't need to do that till later. Don't mind me. And then this green, I think I'm just gonna go around the outside of this one maybe. And then maybe I'll do it again on the inside of this. Just trying to get rid of some of that, like just the lines. Oh, and then I was gonna do green up here. No, I'm not really all that sure where I was gonna put the blue. You know, and I could probably actually do blue for like this middle one. That's kind of cute, right? And then I'm gonna try and see if this white will actually... All right, I'm gonna go in with my white gel pen and we are gonna start just making it so it's supposed to be like neon lights. Kind of. That's kind of neon-y. Just in the middle of our, whatever it's called, acrylics. You know what would have been cool is these top spots if I would have just colored them in like they were an actual like circular light bulb and then just highlighted them. I think it could have turned out way better. Guess there's always next time. Oh, I forgot about this one. You know what? I'm not even sure if I'm gonna do a blue acrylic on that one. I kind of like how that looks right now. To go a shade lighter for my pink acrylic because I really want this one to kind of stand out, so I'm going to be using RV38. I like that. Sometimes if you just use white gel pen, it gets like really tiresome really fast. So sometimes I love highlighting with just like acrylic markers because it still gives you the highlight that you want, but it's not just white gel pen everywhere. And that's why sometimes like highlighting with actually alcohol markers is nice too. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna cover these black lines because I don't really feel like I want them there right now. And then I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna cover these shapes with acrylic. I don't think I'm really gonna do much with the frog. Like, maybe do like a slight highlight, but there is such a thing as too much. And then my pink. Light blue. And then I also really wanted to go over this little crooked thing with yellow. And then I kind of actually really wanted to do this. Take the yellow acrylic and go over this coin slot area. Just to help make it pop. I don't know, maybe it's too much, but that's okay. White gel pen again. Just going to be re-outlining all these shapes basically, or at least parts of them. Come in and go over this black line in the yellow. So with gel pen, you can typically color over acrylic marker if you need to, but acrylic does not cover gel pen very nicely, so don't forget that. And something else that I found, when you're coloring with like white acrylic or white gel pen, be so careful with the color that you're trying to cover up. Because I have found when you are trying to cover up like a red or maybe like a darker pink, you are more likely to get it bleeding through your white. So basically what I mean is, if you put white acrylic or gel pen on like a red or a dark purple or something like that, sometimes your white will turn like pink, and it's just annoying. At this point, I'm just kind of throwing highlights anywhere. What I want to do is I want to make this a lot more reflective. So I'm going to take my light blue and I'm just going to travel down the side of that. And then I'm also going to go down the back of the machine. Maybe a little bit right here and there. I feel like this is going to look funny if I don't cover it up, so we're going to go back and do that real quick. I might do a little line at the bottom here. Yeah, my lighter pink. We're just going to do a little thing there. We're also going to do a little one beside this yellow and along that yellow. And then I actually yellow. We're going to do just a little whoop down there. I like adding just like random colors. So like with the yellow, if I go along the side of the stool, I'm not totally covering the pink, but I'm kind of adding to it. And so even here, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow because there's this yellow spot, and I like that for a highlight. Okay. Sorry, it's really hard to kind of try and explain what I'm doing when I don't even really have that much of an idea. I'm just kind of putting colors anywhere that I feel like it. So because there's yellow in the pizza, I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to the top of the hair and the ear. I don't actually like this pink here, so I'm going to cover it up. I thought maybe it would look cute. It doesn't. Okay, that's okay. And then I'm also gonna add, I kind of want a little bit of yellow. You can see where this is glowing, so I'm gonna add a tiny touch of yellow there too. And we have to add a little bit of more pink because this game is also glowing pink. Maybe I'm doing too much, but it's okay. I like it. I'm also gonna add a white highlight just to the tail there. Maybe a little bit on the shoes. Just a touch on the chair or the curve of the wire. Maybe just a tiny, like, couple dots on the pizzas, because you know pizza's greasy. I'm just doing touches of white certain places. Not too much because I don't want to go overboard. And maybe I already did. I didn't really finish this spot. Put white over the top. Darker pink are RV513. And if we just kind of, you know, those like rainbow glittery black floors, like that could be cute, right? Okay, so we've got our pink. We can do a little bit of blue. Ooh, gotta be careful. Blue's gonna get too big. then maybe a green. Just a little bit of something else. And then with my white gel pen, I'm gonna add dots. I'm choosing to use a white gel pen over my acrylic just because it's more reliable in making small dots. But you could use acrylic too. Oh, I should add some highlights to this guy's shoes. I might do one more blue line there and there. I'm doing something that I might regret doing. I'm taking my bright pink. Honestly, I'm scared that I'm gonna be so mad at myself for this. Okay, we'll let that dry for a second. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my white. Man, my yellow acrylic turned out like garbage. So there, that's the actual finished result. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you guys had a good time either watching, coloring along, whatever it is that you wanted to do. If there's any other pages that you would like to see me do, please leave them and the book name in the comments below.